The first thing I usually do on a new system is set up the fonts. I do not particularly like the standard Ubuntu fonts. If you want, you can keep them, of course, or you can install something else if you'd like. From the Google Fonts website, I will select Roboto and add it to a collection to download. Next, I will search for Roboto Mono and add this as well. And the Inconsolata font and add this. Now I will download our collection and click on the zip file and just open this directly. Now in order to install these, let's go to the files in our launcher, and this will open up the home directory where all of our files are stored. At the top we have the menus, and I will select Show Hidden Files. A convention in Linux is that files and folders with a dot in front of the name are hidden. So I will create a new fonts folder, note the dot in front. This is a special folder which the system will check and load the fonts from so we can use them. And just move the font files into our new folder to copy them. Now I will uncheck this option to hide the files again. The next step is the system needs to scan and load the new fonts. So I will click on the dash and write terminal so we can access this. Actually, let me create a shortcut because we will be using it quite a bit. So the command we want to run is sudo, and this stands for super user do. Remember, Linux by default does not give you access to parts of the system. When you are invoking sudo, whatever command you are running receives elevated privileges, like the run as administrator option in Windows. And fc-cache is the command, and this is used to refresh the font cache. This will scan specific folders in the system and see if there are any changes and update the system accordingly. And I will pass two options here, F, which stands for force, to check all directories, and V to display the status information. And enter the password, and it's done. You will notice here the folder we have just created and the fonts which were added. Okay, I will type exit to close the terminal. Now let's open the settings and appearance, and you will notice there is no option to configure the fonts. But no problem, we will add another program for that. While I'm here in the behavior tab, I will select to show the menus in the Windows title bar, as opposed to showing them in the menu bar at the very top of the screen. And the menu visibility to always show. The default is to show them when you hover your mouse over them. So with that done, let's open the Ubuntu Software Center and search for the Unity tweak tool. Remember, Unity is the desktop environment that comes by default in Ubuntu, and the tweak tool gives us some additional options to configure it. So let's install that, and of course enter our password. And you will notice a new icon was added just below our terminal icon, so let's open that. And you will find in the appearance group the font option we want. So for the default font of the system, I will select Roboto Regular, and you will notice the change in the window. The monospace font, this is the font which is being used in our terminal, will be Roboto Mono. The window title font again will be Roboto Regular, and the document font, in case you want to configure this, I will select again Roboto Regular just to have it. Now this section here is important. I encourage you to try out the various options, since it can improve the way fonts are displayed on your system. I will just leave the defaults as they are. And close this. Now again, related to the fonts, I want to install Microsoft fonts like Arial and so on, since websites generally use these and they're nice to have. So back in the terminal, let's write sudo, again elevated privileges since we want to install something, apt-get, and this is the tool we can use to install software through the command line, and install, of course, since we want to install something, and then the package name. In this case, ttf-ms core fonts-installer, and this will download the installation kit for the Microsoft fonts. Enter the password, and it's telling us that 2 dependencies need to be installed, and then all the packages which will be installed, how big the download is, and how much disk space will be used. And then it's asking us for a confirmation, so I will enter Y and enter. Being a Microsoft product, the end user license agreement will show up, which you should read. You can use the down key to move down and the up key to go up, and the right key to select the OK if you want to accept it, and the left to deselect it. I will select OK and continue, and confirm again, and the installation will take place. So once it's done, let me exit out of this. One of the main differences I noticed when starting to use Linux is the way Firefox is displayed. There was just something I did not like, and I figured out finally it was the fonts. So I will go into the preferences, and under content, advanced, we can configure the fonts Firefox uses. So the serif font will be Times New Roman, the sans serif font will be Arial, and the monospace font will be Courier New, size 13. These should match the default settings you get on Windows, and it makes Firefox look a bit more familiar, at least to me. So let me minimize this, and that is it for the fonts. As a last step, I will remove these icons from the dock. You get the LibreOffice package installed by default if you want to look around, but I will just remove these to have some more space. And the Amazon link remove as well. By the way, in case you remove the link and you want to access the program again, you can use the dash and enter the name like LibreOffice, and it will display the results for you. Okay, I will see you in the next video.